Fire escape engineers inspector summary video. We're here in Jersey City. Fire escape 1 of 3. All these fire escapes that we have here, we're looking for evidence of maintenance, and that is any evidence that the fire escape in its lifetime has been maintained other than a paint job. We see evidence of paint, so there's constantly been a paint, and now it's due for another paint job simply because they've never really cleaned the rust. They just basically painted over the rust, as you can see. But we're also looking for evidence of any maintenance, change of bolts from square bolts to hex heads or rivets. I see some on all the treads. None of the treads have ever been swapped out. Got a lot of rust. We got life safety issues on all 3 treads. I'll show them on the way down. So this fire escape doesn't need emergency work prior to any work starting on this fire escape. So a lot of cement issues. Photographs will show a lot of cement. So a lot of the connections into the building are unverifiable. The ladder is all original hardware. You can see square head bolts on the ladder. Swap those out or load test. So let me start off first what we're going to try to require here. We inspect to certify the fire escape immediately, and this fire escape does not pass the certification. It cannot proceed immediately to a load test. There's evidence that there's been no maintenance here, so I can't immediately load test this fire escape. The code is very clear. The NFPA and the International Fire Code 1028.6 state that the authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. So the other evidence of strength is if this fire escape had been refurbished over its lifetime, I would use that to avoid the load test. Or I can spot repair this fire escape and then load test it. So that's the options we have right now. Spot repair all this rust that's on this fire escape and then fully load test the entire system. Or we can refurbish this entire system and avoid the load test. So from where it's at right now, I think we're going to have to refurbish this one. So let me tell you. All original hardware, swap that out. All cement into the buildings, re-cement. All bolts cleaned of any rust, rebolted. Now, you only want on the grading just these. Now, what I'm saying here on this one, fire escape, is what's going to be for all 3. If we find a similar condition. So all joints, that corner, all these need to be rebolted, cleaned of rust, silicone shut. So all the frames rebolted. Now, these flats that go this way, that are riveted down, you don't have to change these. As long as they're in good condition, they stay. So all original hardware swapped out. Anything that's a post must be original, must have new hardware on it. Okay, going down the side here, you can see cement problems. Cement, when we get underneath, I'll show you. We also have the weight box that we're going to be dealing with downstairs. So all original. Now, see these railings? You don't have to change these rivets. If they're in good condition, they stay. But the corners, the posts, need to be redone. This staircase here has a life safety issue, and I'll explain why. Aside from having this much rust, which is almost 3/4 of rust in there, which takes 50 years plus of unchecked, this stringer is being held by nothing. See, this is already popped out. So that's when all eaten. You got monster amount of rust there, monster rust there. Look how much rust is here. 3/4 of rust. So that rivet is not doing anything, see? So all original hardware, I see no evidence of maintenance on these treads. So 100% of all the treads, stringer, tops and bottoms need to be swapped out. See this rivet? See this bar? This needs to be cleaned. This needs to be reinforced, or these 2 rivets popped out and new bolts popped in. Okay. Fire escape is older than 78, so all this is presumed to have a lead-based primer. So EPA rules apply. You must have an EPA renovator's license to touch this fire escape in dealing with all the scraping. You can't have these units here. These things are supposed to be mounted off to the side. You can't have these on a fire escape. They're obstructions. See all the cracks in the cement? All these tiebacks are all compromised. They're all suspect. Every one of them needs to be repacked on the whole structure of this face. Major scraping, rebolting, cabling. If this cabling cannot be verified, but see, it's the rust, it's already starting to surface rust here. Grease these wheels and make sure that these weights don't drop and fall out of their case, and release arm so nobody can break in to this fire escape. There should be a release arm here at the second level. Same thing on this fire escape. We're gonna go down and see all the stairs have issues. There's huge amounts of rust. Gotta go nice and slow. Here, all the rust inside. Now, all of these have to be repacked. The ones that are good, if we don't want to repack them, if they're in good condition, we can put an epoxy bolt next to it. That eliminates the need for us to verify every one of these connections. But you got cement problems on every floor, so there's no need to duplicate these connections because every one of these is bad. See? Every one of this is open like that. All right, so look at all the rust. So every one of these treads, you got to change out all the rust. Take out all the connections. Remove 100% of the rust. Look how bad that rust is. 3/4 here. Got a lot of surface debris on this fire escape. This has all got to get cleaned up. Again, cement is missing. Corners got to be redone. All that rust got to be cleaned out, rebolted, sealed with silicone. Any of these bars, if they're loose, they need to be rebolted, but if they're in good condition, they stay. So you have to swap out all major structural. All minor structural can stay. Again, EPA renovator's license required. There is lead on this fire escape. You need to have some sort of release arm or chain that holds this ladder from being pulled down. Must be single action, requiring no special knowledge. A lot of this cement and a lot of these sills have caused this major structural cracks. So this is what happens. The steel pops the sill like it did here, then water gets in through the sill and eats the steel. So the entire fire escape, the entire platform are all compromised. And in order to verify that, you have to open them up. They're already all open. So to avoid the load test, 100% refurbishment of this fire escape, 100% full paint job, and you avoid the load test. Otherwise, if you want to come in here and specifically pick out, what you want to change and spot repair the fire escape only and paint it, it still needs a full load test as the requirement by the city official. Any questions? This is Inspector Meneses, 866-649-0333. 866-649-0333. Or speak with your fire prevention inspector of your local city in confirmation of what's been said on this report, as they will be getting a copy also. Thank you. Engineers Inspector Summary Video. Fire escape number 3 here. We're in Jersey City. This is fire escape 3 of 3. And this fire escape, we're not able to get up to it. The ladder will not come down, so we have a life safety issue on this one, and that the ladder is a non-functioning ladder. But the photographs that are shot of this fire escape pretty much mirrors the exact situation that we have on number 1 and number 2. Again, 100% refurbishment required of this fire escape in order to avoid the load test. You can spot repair this fire escape, but there's 75% failure rate on this thing. So it makes no sense to spot repair, then pay the cost of a load test on this one. We do have lead on the fire escape, so you have to have a renovator's license. A city official wants a permit pulled on this before any work is performed. He does want engineer oversight to make sure that the work is being done to avoid the load test. And it shows no evidence of maintenance. Everything is original hardware on this fire escape. And the other concern is also all the cement into the building is the same issue as fire escape number 1, 2, and 3. So repeating the 2 codes that we're dealing with on this fire escape, the International Fire Code 1028.6 states that depending on the structural condition, a load test may be ordered. So here we have a fire escape, and then the NFPA code is the authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. There is no other evidence of strength. This fire escape cannot go directly to a load test. It'll have a catastrophic failure, and it needs to be totally refurbished and painted, re-cemented back into the building to avoid the load test. If you want to spot repair it and then paint it and then load test it, I think the cost will be near at the same amount, if not more, depending. Any questions, fire escape engineers? This is 1 of 3. Please review 1 and 2 for more detailed information specific to fire escape systems just like this. This is 1 of 3, and they all look the same. They all have the same exact problems. Any questions? Fire escape engineers, Inspector Vanessa's here, 866-649-0333. You can also call your fire prevention officer and discuss these findings with he or she in regards to the repairs versus load testing or refurbishment in lieu of load testing. Thank you. city. Fire escape's number 2 of 3. As you can see, we have some life safety issues in that some of these flats are already popping. And so this is a good example of what happens when you think that the fire escape is in good condition, yet all these flats are popping. And so this becomes a concern. Rivets are still here, but you can actually pop some of these. That's how long it's been. All the corners have been popped. This area looks like an area that gets wet all the time, stays wet. So it eats all the rust. It eats all the bolts. Somebody came in here many years ago and just welded the corners, and all of them are popped again. So, like a very unsafe structure here. Treads. You know, if you listen to what was said on number 1, number 2 gets the same issue. The 2 codes we're dealing with here is the International Fire Code 1028.6, the authority having jurisdiction, depending on the structural condition, shall order a load test. So the NFPA says the authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. I'm looking for other evidence of strength that I can give to the official to say that this fire escape does not need a load test. I can't. The fire escape has been painted and now is needs of another paint job, but structurally there hasn't been much of a refurbishment ever in its lifetime. I got a lot of cement issues into the wall, so a lot of the tiebacks are all compromised or suspect. I got rust on all the treads, original hardware everywhere. The ladder's got all original hardware all the way up to the top, so that's a safety concern for the firemen. If the fireman stepping through that hole that was there before could get jammed and locked up. We've got some ACs in the windows, and down below we got grates and ACs. You can't have the access to the fire escape blocked like that. The recommendation is that you use those inside ACs. Original hardware. See, all the rust, more rust down below, believe it or not. Debris on these fire escapes, rust, huge rust buildup. And also every one of these treads has to be done and removed. Let's talk about the lead issue. You know that this is older than 1978, so it's presumed to have lead. So you must have an EPA renovator's license. The city official wants a permit pulled on this before any work is performed. The fire escape does have life safety issues. All the corners are rotted out. There's no bolts holding. The cement tiebacks and all the supports tying into the building, like the first one, all of these are also showing evidence that the water has gotten in there and it has opened up a lot of these. So let's keep walking down. Let's talk about this ladder weight box system. Another life safety issue. Look, it's already rotted out. This is ready to drop. So as soon as this drops, this chunk of steel down, it's going to hurt somebody down there. It's then going to release this ladder to go down like a guillotine. These have to be replaced. You can't fix these. And you have to load test them. So you have to just switch this out from chain to cable, and you make a smaller pulley system that goes there now that's covered to the weather. Again, missing bolts in the connections. Missing bolts. There's a little bit of welding here that somebody came in and did a temporary weld. But the sad thing about welding is that now you have to load test the weld or x-ray the welds. So this fire escape needs to be refurbished. So 100% of all the treads rebolt. 100% of all the railings rebolt. You know, the corners, you don't have to do the bars. You hammer test these bars, and if they're solid, they stay. The flats, like we did over there and up above, you have to hit the flats to make sure they're not popping. If they're popping, change the bolts. But minimally on the gratings, front bolt and the back bolt as part of the frame needs to be rebolted. So this is 100% rebolting. To avoid the load test, you must 100% rebolt the entire superstructure, all the major connections. That includes all supports and all railings, everything. See, there's no nuts left. Everything's gone. Everything's been eaten here. So the other thing too that's important on these supports is this rivet. You need to put a gusset here. If you want to keep that rivet, you got to put a gusset here so you can put 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there. And there's a single bolt in the back that needs to be reinforced also with a gusset. And then you got the tie back into the building. See all this rot? So you have a choice. Either you repack this whole entire support if it's still good, or about 5 inches away you put in an epoxy bolt. And then you put an angle clip back here, picking up this and picking up this, okay? Again, renovator's license required to touch this because it has all the lead. Notification to the people at the building. You got a lot of major rust on all the treads. Okay? Debris. cabling everywhere that's trip hazards, cement into the wall. So all the cement on this entire fire escape is similar to number 1. You got debris and rot on every corner. So it's a total refurb on this fire escape here also. Any questions? As you can see, total. Over here you need to get a release arm so that when this thing is up, nobody can pull this down and break into it. The release arm can be made of a simple swing release arm latch, or you can use a chain that comes back to a hook here, single action, so that the only way you get out of here is somebody releases the chain, the ladder drops 2 to 3 feet per second by itself, hits the ground, stays down, and then that way you can evacuate and nobody can break into the building. Any questions on this fire escape number 2 of 3? Give us a call here at 866-649-0333. Inspector Meneses here. You can also call your local fire prevention marshal or inspector and review the findings with them, as they too will get a copy of this report. Okay, Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary Video. Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary Video. Fire Escape number 3 here, we're in Jersey City. This is Fire Escape 3 of 3. And this fire escape, we're not able to get up to it. The ladder will not come down, so we have a life safety issue on this one, in that the ladder is a non-functioning ladder. But the photographs that are shot of this fire escape pretty much mirrors the exact situation that we have on number 1 and number 2. Again, 100% refurbishment required of this fire escape in order to avoid the load test. You can spot repair this fire escape, but there's 75% failure rate on this thing. So it makes no sense to spot repair, then pay the cost of a load test on this one. We do have lead on the fire escape, so you have to have a renovator's license. A city official wants a permit pulled on this before any work is performed. He does want engineer oversight to make sure that the work is being done to avoid the load test. And it shows no evidence of maintenance. Everything is original hardware on this fire escape. And the other concern is also all the cement into the building is the same issue as fire escape number 1, 2, and 3. So repeating the 2 codes that we're dealing with on this fire escape, the International Fire Code 1028.6 states that depending on the structural condition, a load test may be ordered. So here we have a fire escape, and then the NFPA code is the authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. There is no other evidence of strength. This fire escape cannot go directly to a load test. It'll have a catastrophic failure, and it needs to be totally refurbished and painted, re-cemented back into the building to avoid the load test. If you want to spot repair it and then paint it and then load test it, I think the cost will be near at the same amount, if not more, depending. Any questions, Fire Escape Engineers? This is 1 of 3. Please review 1 and 2 for more detailed information specific to fire escape systems just like this. This is 1 of 3, and they all look the same. They all have the same exact problems. Any questions? Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Meneses here, 866-649-0333. You can also call your fire prevention officer and discuss these findings with he or she in regards to the repairs versus load testing or refurbishment in lieu of load testing. Thank you.
Right now, firefighters are taking down the ladders and rolling up the hoses. But earlier in the night, when they pulled up, there were flames coming out of the side of the building. Firefighters say it was one of the scarier moments, because when you pull up to a building and you see children and mothers hanging off the side of the fire escape, smoke swirling around them, they said that's scary, scary stuff. They got up there, they got the ladders up, and they said nobody got hurt.
The fire escape, there was 3 or 4 people hanging off the fire escape. They couldn't get off. They were just on the fire escapes. I had people hanging in the fire escapes at the rear of the building, and on this side of the building, we had a bunch of people on that fire escape.
About 50 people were displaced inside this building. However, firefighters say there's good news tonight. It looks like everybody will be allowed to go back in, except the one unit where the fire was in. They said that's good luck to them tonight. I'm Bob Wilson, on the scene of Bridgeport, News 8.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him.
Oh, I was scared to death.
But the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Where the railing just came away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes. Rusty, deteriorating, crumbling. broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes.
So then over here?
For months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
Looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the fire escape.
Correct.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one, a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files.
But there's no fire escape certification.
Not in this file.
To see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Right.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the director of inspectional services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification. And again, no system for keeping track.
How can they get away with that?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation when you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan.